All right, so the last one is Easter morning. And so I have gone to Easter morning masses pretty much my whole life. Like I cannot remember not going to an Easter morning mass. Even when I went to the vigil, our children's choir sang at the morning masses, which actually is what OLP does too. Not this year, obviously, but that's what we do, is that that the children's choir would sing. And so I was always in the youth choir growing up. And so, yeah, I've been to a fair number of those Easter morning masses. And there is just something cool about Easter morning, right? There's just something to be said for that. Like coming and it's sunny. You know, it's always sunny. I don't know, maybe it's not, and maybe that's just in my head, but it seems like it's always sunny on Easter morning. And you go to mass, and the church I grew up in especially had like these big stained glass windows and like just the sunlight coming in. And I don't know, there was just something about Easter that felt so uninhibitedly joyful. And so I don't know, I just think that was something that was really cool for me growing up. And so the last thing that we were going to do in Edge this week had to do with like Easter. And we were going to come down back from our prayer from Easter Vigil, where we get to hear the salvation story. We have the candles and the darkness and all of that cool stuff. And we were just going to have some like time to socialize and hang out, and some treats and some music and good things like that, to just help us to know that like all of the bad things, right? So the cross and like the gruesomeness of everything that happened to Jesus, it is a pretty gruesome tale, and we maybe don't, I don't know, I think sometimes we numb ourselves to that. We don't really think about it like it is a gruesome thing, right? And maybe that's just me, I don't know, but I think sometimes we have the tendency to not see, like to not really understand the cross, and to not understand the like gruesomeness and the horrible thing that was. And so I think the cool thing about Easter morning is that all of that darkness, all of that gruesome, terrible stuff is gone, and the sun is out again, right? So we were just going to hear the story of like Mary running and the disciples running to the tomb to see Jesus after he's risen. And so to talk about, like, we were going to talk a little bit about how like the disciples, they kind of went into hiding after that, like after this happened. It was in that period of time, just for being associated with a criminal who had been crucified. You too could be crucified, right? So you could experience the same death as they did, just because you were associated with them. And so the disciples are all in hiding at that point, because they're shaken up, because Jesus died, and so they know he's the Messiah, they know that he was supposed to come to save them, and they had their own expectations of what that meant, and they didn't understand fully, obviously, God's plan for them. They didn't fully understand God's plan of redemption. And so we're going to talk a little bit about like how scared they must have been, how scared they were, and then to come running out to see Jesus's tomb empty, and to see the angels and all of those things. So at any rate, that's the last thing. So for Easter, I think we do it anyway, like we've given up something for Lent, and usually on Easter we get to indulge in that. So if we've given up chocolate, we get to indulge in chocolate. If we've given up social media, we get to go back on Facebook and say hello to everybody, all that kind of good stuff. So at any rate, that was the last day of Holy Week for us. That was the last thing we were going to talk about this past week. So I hope you've enjoyed these little short videos, and hope you're enjoying doing all of the activities that go along with them. Okay, peace be with you.